Home of Uselessness. I'm Devin.
I'm Dan.
And today we're talking about part 4 of Disenchantment. But first, that's what it's called, right?
It is called that, yeah.
I always wonder if I always get confused if it's Disenchantment or Disenchanted.
Right. Either would work.
Either would work. Who cares? Dan, did you like anything this week?
Yeah, I've got a couple things I will mention. I've mentioned, maybe I haven't, but I've been trying to read the Foundation series by Asimov, and I found a list of like 15 books or so that kind of are all related from his previous works. Like I said, starting at iRobot. And so I read one called The Stars Like Dust. And yeah, it was pretty good. It's funny because now at this point, like these books have like less tenuous connection, but they're there because they mentioned like some galactic empire and stuff. But the plots or the characters, like the stuff they talk about is not totally related, but it's sort of there. And I was kind of hoping that these books would continue some of the other robots and stuff like that, but different stuff. Anyway, it's still, Asimov was a pretty good writer, so it's still a lot of good stuff there.
Nice.
Yeah, and then the other thing I'll mention is that I decided to embark on a journey, no pun intended, I guess, of also reading some of the Dan Brown stuff, the Robert Langdon books that were wildly popular, especially the Da Vinci Code. And so I read the first one, Angels and Demons, and then I watched the movie, which I don't think I had seen before. I feel like after I watched it, I was like, I think I've seen this on TV or like a piece of it. But then it's also funny because Angels and Demons is the first book of that Robert Langdon stuff. But yeah, I think it was second or third movie, right? Like, because didn't they do Inferno as well, which is one of the books?
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so it's like the second or third movie, but it was the first book. So there is a couple lines in the movie, like where they talk about that, where they're like, well, you had some dealings with the church previously, this or that. And I'm like, no, he didn't. But yeah, it's because it's Tom Hanks's character still continuing on, but not the book guy. But anyway, because I was kind of curious that I was like, are these just trash or like, are they good books? Right?
And what is your verdict?
So far, I've read 2 of them. I'll talk about the Da Vinci Code another time, but I don't know. They're just kind of like blockbuster movies in a sense, but in book form, where it's just like the characters going on the journey and, they got to go here and they find the thing and he goes here and he finds the next thing. The thing I hate the most about it, though, is the short chapter thing, which I know I spoke to you off mic about it. Yeah. I hate that it doesn't give you time to enjoy what the character's doing or what he's about or anything. It's just like, we're on to the next scene. And I'm like, but it's the same scene.
But you can feel smarter if you read 100-chapter book instead of a 20-chapter book, Dan. Obviously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think like the Angels and Demons has like 110 or 15 chapters, and it's just because some chapters are literally 2 pages.
I mean, like, okay, in the right context, a very short chapter can be very powerful.
Sure, it can flip to another scene.
I can't remember which book it was, but I remember reading like a book where like the chapters were more standard length, and then one of the characters basically finds a dead body, so that chapter is like a paragraph.
Sure.
And then it's like a time jump to a different time and stuff. It made sense in that context, and it was very powerful.
But I'm more talking about where it's like they're in their room, and then they look at a desk, and then the chapter ends, and then the next page is on the desk. We found this stuff, and I'm like, that's literally the next paragraph. Like,
that's anyway. Kind of topical because that's how I feel about Disenchantment now.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. But overall, I was like, oh, it's pretty enjoyable. Like I said, easy reads, and you just kind of burn through it, and because in the beginning of the book to, bring you into this high-minded world where it's like the places are real and like some of these events and like and you're like, sure, because in the first book he's in the Vatican and you're like, yeah, the Vatican is real.
What?
I know he didn't make it up, but yeah, and then they're
blown.
Yeah, but he's talking about these plinths and obelisks and stuff like that, and I'm like, sure, they're probably there, but I don't know if they have the same connections that he is influencing and injecting into them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was pretty fun. And then, like I said, I watched the movie because I hadn't seen it before, and Ewan McGregor's doing some weird. I'm trying to be the Pope, and it's just funny because it's. What's sorry?
That's not Da Vinci Code, though, right? That's Angels and Demons.
It's Angels and Demons, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just funny because it's like you got to dramatize Tom Hanks looking at a piece of paper to find a clue, and then they drive somewhere, and it's got like this bombastic score music where it's that dun 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 dun. So it made me laugh.
Nice.
But I don't know. It was an okay watch. It was long though. It was like 2 hours and 45 minutes or something like that.
Too
and
long.
You could tell and you could tell they spent some money on it because in the beginning they do this big sequence in the Hadron Collider and stuff like that, and all the CG. And I was like, wow, this was like totally unnecessary, but they had the budget for it. But anyway,
Paul Bettany in the Da Vinci Code?
The Da Vinci Code, yeah, he plays the bad guy. Well,
yeah,
one of the bad guys.
Monkey guy. Monk, not monkey.
He's the albino monk, yes.
Yes.
Which I don't think I've seen the entire Da Vinci Code either. I know I've seen bits and pieces on TV where I'm like turning on and I'm like, oh, it's the Da Vinci Code. So,
I saw the Da Vinci Code when I was 21 and I was living in New Jersey, and I went there with a bunch of other nannies from the area.
Nice.
And I just remember being like, hey, that's the guy from The Knight's Tale.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was planning on watching that next because, like I said, I usually do like to do the inverse: read the book, watch the movie, and then
makes sense.
Not just disappointed. Or no, wait, sorry. I usually do the other way. Sorry, I usually watch the movie then read the book. But
yeah, then you just get backstory.
Yeah, but in these ones, I'm going to do it backwards from my usual method. But anyway, that's enough Dan Brown Corner by Dan. What about yourself, Devin? Do you got anything you want to highlight?
Dan, you are missing $1 million opportunity. You could have a YouTube channel called Dan's Dan Brown Corner, where you make 3-hour video essays about all things Dan Brown.
Well, yeah, because he's written more books than just I think there's only 4 in the Robert Langdon stuff. Like, he's written other stuff, but I just don't think it's been as popular.
But you could make it popular with your in-depth YouTube channel, where you're like, on page 47, he uses the word the 14 times. If you go to page 14...
It's a symbol. It all links back and forth.
It all links. The girl from Amelie is Jesus's granddaughter.
She is.
No, like the actual actress.
Yeah, I mean...
Surprise.
Surprise. Surprise. The chalice was a woman all along.
He treats objects like women, man. Sorry, it was the perfect time for a Lebowski quote.
Yeah, that's her.
Okay, I liked stuff this week too. Did you have anything else before I dive into mine?
No, like I said, it was just the 2/3, talking about the movie a bit. And then, yeah, what do you got?
So I read some trash romance novels by Sarah McLean, A Rogue by Any Other Name, and One Good Earl Deserves a Lover. 2 of the 4 books in her Something Scoundrels. They're all the same. It doesn't matter. Anyways, they were good.
So it's a big series, though. There's 4 of them.
There's 4. I'll read the other 2 eventually.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, you're gonna get the other 2, right?
Yeah, because so all of her historical romances are joined in one way or another. A Rogue by Any Other Name is the fiance of a duke who left her for this other woman in this other series, and then she falls in love with this secret duke who owns a gambling hall with his 3 friends. So the other 3 books are about his 3 friends finding partners. The second book is about the girl from the first book's sister hooking up with one of the other gambling men.
Nice.
It doesn't matter. They're all the same book. And then I listened to Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote on Audible, which I've read before, but I forgot everything about it. Oh, it was read by Michael C. Hall, which was interesting.
Yeah.
He's got a good voice. He's Dexter. You knew that, but in case some other people didn't know that, he's got a good reading voice, except when he tries to voice women. Because he's like, hello! Which is great because, like, you know, the main character, the narrator's a man, the story's about a woman. So there's a lot of women speaking in it.
Yeah.
I also listened to A Kiss Before Dying by Ira Loving on Audible, who, as you may or may not know, also wrote Rosemary's Baby, like the book, and Stepford Wives. And I really like his writing. I don't know why he's not more popular, and I very much recommend A Kiss Before Dying. It's a wild ride if you like books.
Which I do.
I also have been watching Pam and Tommy. I think that the finale came out yesterday, but I haven't watched it. I'll probably watch it tonight or tomorrow. It's very good. The actress that plays Pamela Anderson, Lily James, it's just Pamela Anderson. Like, she just totally becomes her. It's crazy.
Nice.
I think that's it.
Cool.
Maybe. Did I watch any? Oh, you know what I'm watching right now, and I recommend, is Make Fun on Netflix, where these five dudes like our age, so like in their late 30s, early 40s, have a huge shed full of tools, and they make things that, like, they make inventions that kids pitch to them.
Okay, yeah.
And it's so funny, and it's a bit like Adam from Mythbusters, like One Day Builds on his YouTube channel. Like, it's a bit like that, but it's also just like ridiculous things because it's children pitching it.
Sure. That's obviously the twist to it.
Like, they made a 8-foot tall nutcracker that had knife arms and flames coming out of the eyes.
Awesome.
And they put a hydraulic press as the, like, nut cracking part so that it would crush steel.
Yeah.
And it also had a smoothie maker in its head, and the smoothie came out of its nose.
Gotta have it added feature.
Yeah, of course. So it's pretty good, and I recommend it.
Cool. How
and
many
that's
episodes
it.
is that?
I didn't like anything else. Sorry, what did you ask?
Is there multiple seasons of this? Or is it like 10 episodes or?
There's one season. It just came out, and I don't know how many episodes there are, but I have one left to watch.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it. Goodbye.
And then, of course, Disenchantment.
Yeah, let's talk about Disenchantment. What did you think of it? Just this part 4, season 4.
It was interesting because I think it goes back to what I've said in previous parts that we've done episodes about, where it's like, I just don't know what the show's goal is. If it's trying to be serialized, or is it trying to be episodic, or is it trying to do a mix and just not nailing it? Kind of, I'm thinking almost like, like some seasons of Doctor Who where there's just like, they're just going on adventures, and then the last like 2 episodes they reveal some kind of overall thing that was kind of maybe happening but not. So I just don't know. But it's also like, the story is moving forward, like an overall story, but then it seems to be moving forward at such a slow pace.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, is there a story moving forward and I'm just like too dumb, or what's going on here? I don't know. It's weird because I enjoyed it overall, but I didn't like laugh a ton, and I was just more, I wanted to see something happening essentially. So I was perplexed, I guess would be the word. Yeah,
like it. I think out of all of the Matt Groening shows, I like Disenchantment the best.
Interesting, yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of The Simpsons. There's like a handful of episodes that I find to be very amusing. like the X-Files one, for example, and
Sure.
kind of the earlier Treehouse of Horror stuff, like, the classics.
Yeah.
But I don't really find it like hilarious. and, and then I never really got into Futurama. Like, I know you love it, and
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of like interesting stuff that happens in the background and stuff like that, but I could never, I don't know if I just didn't like Fry, maybe.
It's quite possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I just never got into it. So I like Disenchantment the best out of those three, but I don't think I really enjoyed this season.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like I don't know what they're trying to do.
Well, yeah, that's my question as well.
Yeah. And also I vaguely remember when it first came out, I thought that they had only signed like that it was only supposed to be 4 parts.
Oh, okay.
I remember reading that. I don't know. I have no citations for this, no sources.
Yeah, it's not in the show description.
Yeah, I might have made it up. Um, but because that was in my head, I went into season 4 thinking it was going to be wrapped up. So I was disappointed when it wasn't. That might have tainted my view on it a bit.
That's fair. Because I was gonna say, I think when it first started, it was a question we had at the time too, that it was like, I don't recall there being a potential end, but it's also like because it's animation and it's Netflix and they have a habit of canceling something after 2, 3 seasons. So it was like, is this gonna be able to tell at least a story and then end? But it's sort of continuing on, right?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I think that with the increase of adult animation, like okay, so like when we were kids, animation was mostly for kids, right?
Yeah, except for stuff that came from Japan.
Yeah, right. In the West,
Yeah.
animation was mostly for kids, and then like I guess like The Simpsons, and then like later on like Family Guy and American Dad and all that. It's the genre of animation for adults opened up a bit, and I think maybe my expectations are too high. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to like defend the show against my own opinion of the show.
Well, and I think it goes back to sort of my point and your point is that because actually we talked about that when we did our Simpsons episode, that it's like The Simpsons is the reason we have so much adult animation and it's great, but then a show like The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, like you just named, because I actually really like Bob's Burgers, those are episodic. They just tell a story and it's over and it's 24 minutes. This doesn't
Yeah.
seem to be doing that, so it's kind of like, what's the deal? Because this is the generation and the time of long form serialized TV. And so it's like, but this is doing a mix, but it doesn't seem to be working in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I can't help but like compare it to shows like BoJack or Shira. I know Shira isn't strictly for adults, but I don't care because it's one of my favorite shows ever. So, but like BoJack was so good at
Quite.
like the end.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know there was more to your statement. Sorry.
Yeah, it was just so good. Yeah. No, it was so good at telling small individual stories episode to episode, but also having like every decision the character makes impacts them in some way. And as like a very superficial example, in the first season, they steal the D from Hollywood, and then the rest of the show, it gets referred to as Hollywood. Like
Yeah.
they remember the stuff that their characters does, and it has an effect in the world. And I guess Disenchantment does too, to some extent. Like in season 1, Bean's kind of a drunk, and she does like do some work on herself, and now she's like, a bit of a different character, but it doesn't seem as cohesive as like BoJack or Shira does.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's part of the problem too. Like maybe if I watched Disenchantment in the year 2000, I might have liked it a lot more.
Fair enough.
If I watched this 22 years ago, it would have been very fresh.
Yeah. Well, and I think like season 1, like I've always kind of said it, like it had because it was fresher and it had some more fun going on. And then now at this point, it's like it's one of my complaints about the show. And every season, I think since we've been doing episodes about it, is that the first episode or two, in this case, like they work really hard to get back to like the status quo of it's like the three of our characters together in Dreamland.
I would even argue the first three season of this, first three episodes of the season, because episode 3 is about resolving Zog's mental breakdown.
Insane Asylum episode with Chaz, which was fun. But yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like so they work really hard through 3 episodes out of 8 or 10. Sorry, there was 10. Yeah, out of 10. Yeah. So a third of your show is to just get people back to like a status quo, and then it's like okay, but then they're not really having fun at the same time, and then the season kind of ends. And then like one thing that's bothered me is in this season especially, because it's been hinted at since season 3, but it's like they still kind of hint that Bean might be magical, and it's like. She's the daughter of like the most powerful sorceress on the planet. Of course she's magical, right?
Yeah, just let her be magical.
Yeah, just let her be magical, right? Because, you know, they do like when she heals Zog, you're like, okay, cool. And then she's still doing the lightning zap occasionally. And it's just like, just get her some magic here. She's got the magic.
Maybe the lightning's too expensive to like animate.
That black purple effect. Yeah.
Yeah, they got to use it sparingly.
Yeah. I don't know. So like that's bothersome by season 4, where you're like you've hinted at it since season 3. We know Dagmar's a super powerful sorceress. Like, yeah.
Yeah, just give it to us. It's fine.
Yeah.
So to go back to what I was saying, that I thought it was only supposed to be 4 seasons. I remember reading that, and again, I don't know if this is true or not. But now I'm feeling like they've decided to stretch it out to 6 seasons.
Oh.
And I think like because like. As far as like arcs go, I feel like 2 seasons they could wrap everything up in. And I think that's part of the reason why season 4 is so disappointing, is because it's like filler in between like a really good season, like season 3, and the end.
Yeah, it's definitely bang in the middle.
Yeah, it is. It's just so mediocre.
Yeah. Everybody's working.
I mean, there's funny parts, like continuously falling down a spiral staircase is very funny to me.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how you want to do this.
I would say I just wanted, before we get into anything else, we could highlight the voice cast again.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because I think they do a good job. Again, like Abby Jacobson, who does Bean. I still love all of her woe takes. Yeah. And Eric Andre returns as Luci, of course. Nate Faxon, John DiMaggio, Tress MacNeille, David Herman, Maurice LaMarche, Billy West. They're all in there. And then Mark Mothersbaugh, sorry. He does the composer of the music, because I do enjoy the music as well of the show.
The music is great. The animation is great. The voice acting is great. The writing is suffering a little bit at this point.
Well, and it's interesting too, because I have the breakdown of each episode, and they're all written by different people.
Interesting.
And then like some of the names appear more than once, but like, yeah, so maybe that's causing a disconnect, because they're all written by different people and directed by different people.
Maybe. It did feel very disjointed. And I also felt like Bean wasn't really in the season that much compared to other seasons.
Yeah, well, and I think this goes back to what I was saying as well, that it's just like the direction of her character. It's like they don't know what to do, because if they go too fast with it, it's like then it gets to a conclusion too quick, I guess.
Yeah. You know what else this season severely lacked? Una.
Sure. Yeah. I think they even make a meta joke about that.
Yeah, I think they do too.
Because they're like she's like, I'm only just here to rescue you, and then she just leaves.
Yeah. Was it like in the last season when Bean and Una do drugs together?
It was either 2 or 3, yeah.
That's such a fucking funny episode.
Yeah.
So I have some major beef with this show,
Sure.
and I would like your opinion on it.
Yeah. Well, and I guess before we get to some major beef, or
Yeah.
because I don't think we should go episode by episode breakdown or anything, but I just would like to highlight, I did enjoy the first episode. I thought it was pretty good continuation. But like I said, there was a lot of work to get more status quo. But being in hell with her mom, that was good fun.
Wait,
And
I wonder if you enjoyed it because I texted you and said, "Don't worry, it gets better after episode 1."
yeah, I think you mentioned something about that you were like, it gets better. But I don't know. I liked the first episode.
I
But
thought
then,
it was boring, and okay. This is one moment in the show that kind of highlights one of the issues I have with it. In the first episode, we find out that Dagmar is trying to marry Bean to Satan. And Satan goes to Bean's room to try to seduce her, and then she reverse Uno's him and annoys him. Which was great and hilarious.
Yeah.
But then as they're walking out of the room, Satan is animated as a handsome, suave guy, but when we see his reflection, he's kind of like a big fat guy.
Yeah.
It's never touched on again.
No.
Why include that if it has no fucking purpose?
Yeah.
And then I was like, is it like a wink wink, what nudge nudge? Was Dagmar actually Satan, and this was just a lesser demon that she was trying to marry off to her daughter for some reason? Or was it just a really lazy, stupid joke that had no fucking point? What's going on?
I think it's the second one, unfortunately. Because Bean makes a comment about how handsome he is and stuff like that, and then it's just well, he's using illusion magic to look handsome. So.
Yeah, but why? Why is that even important? That, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Also, of course Satan should be good looking. He's fucking there to tempt you.
Yeah.
He should look like the most attractive person you've ever met for everybody all the time. That's okay, sorry.
Well, that's all right. That's fair. I liked it though at the end how even though Bean kind of seems to outwit Dagmar and cut Dagmar's hand to put on the contract of hell, and it's just Dagmar has a smile that it's yeah, she's the queen of hell, and it's a good manipulation there. Anyway, I liked that episode. And then for me, one of my favorites was episode 8, which was Spy versus Spy versus Spy.
Yeah, that was fun.
My favorite. And then I did enjoy the finale. I liked Bean with Bad Bean and the dream stuff.
Yeah, I liked Bean with Bad Bean and the dream stuff too. But I also felt is this something deeper, or is this just another thing that they're just gonna sweep under the rug in episode 1 of season 5?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was saying, where it's there's that disconnect, because the reoccurring dream she has, it goes back to episode 2 or 3, and
yeah.
You don't get any the payoff is not till episode 9 and 10, and you're just so the whole time you're just what is even this about? Why are we spending screen time on this?
Yeah. And then okay, also so Bean has a dream, Bad Bean's in her dream, Bad Bean tricks Bean so that Bad Bean can go back to the human world. So then Bad Bean's in original Bean's body, but then Luci manages to pull regular Bean out of the dream world through a mirror, and then there's Bean versus Bad Bean, but Bad Bean's in Bean's original body. Bean decapitates Bad Bean, and so she's kind of decapitating her original body and then she gets thrown into the ocean, and then in the post-credit scene, Dagmar, Satan, and Bad Beans, which is original Beans' physical head, are in the throne room, and Bad Beans' head seems to be alive. Like, what is going on with this show?
Yeah, you're right. In that part, it doesn't make sense that he was able to pull and make Bean physical from the dream realm or whatever.
Yeah, and then, okay.
No, I didn't think the head was alive. I thought it was just, like, the head.
No, but, like, its eyes were moving and shit.
Oh, was it? Okay, I must have blinked and missed that. Sorry.
Yeah, I think. Now I don't know. I think Bad Bean's head is still animated? Or is Dagmar going to eat Bad Bean's brains?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Like, what's going on? Why? I
thought just like because at the end, or yeah, she's like, well, I got this, and it's Bean's head. It was just like she could just prove that Bean's dead, so that and she should be the queen because she was married to Zog, and she's technically the queen.
Oh, that's a good point. I don't fucking know anymore. She could also just be like, I'm the queen of hell, and now I'm the queen of Dreamland. Suck it.
Sure, but there's a legitimacy there.
It's so frustrating when a show is like, let's give you lots of mysteries and never resolve anything.
Sorry, that just reminded me of like the Red Letter Media Star Trek. It's a mystery.
Like, honestly, Disenchantment is becoming the animated version of Lost now. The fuck is going on? I want to like this show so badly.
Well, and also like I was saying with the recurring dream thing, where it's like with the elf subplot in like episode 1 or 2, they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this thing, and then again they don't do anything until episode like 7 or 8, and you're like,
yeah.
Well, what was the point of even having them talk about it in episode 2?
Yeah, like what? Oh my god.
That's what I was saying in the beginning, that it's like if you want to just do some episodic fun stuff a la Futurama, but in a Disenchantment fantasy world, go to town. But,
yeah, I'm all for that.
Yeah, but this mixture is just kind of like half and half, and it's just not really flowing well.
So, okay, I wrote down notes for this episode.
Yeah, let's get to the notes.
And so I wrote down like thoughts, and I'll get to my first thought in a moment. But my second thought is, the cliffhangers are getting old. My third thought is, there's too much going on to care. My fourth thought is, it seems unfocused. And my fifth thought is, seems like they don't have a plan. Okay.
Which, again, that's fine if your show's not supposed to have a plan.
Yeah, if it's just like more like season 1 was, I guess, where it's like Bean, Luci, and Elfo getting into misadventures, then that's great.
Yeah. Well, and again, yeah, like going back to like Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, American Dad, they're all just like the misadventure happens and then next episode.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to get back to my first thought in a minute, but on a sidetrack,
Sure.
I was watching some videos today to like help refresh my memory about this show. And there's so many fucking fan theories out there because they just don't, like, when they just don't finish a thought in the show ever.
Sure. It's a mystery.
Anything. Yes. All the mysteries. And it's like, it just spawns a bunch of fan theories, which maybe they're trying to do, maybe not. I don't know if it's working or not, because fucking Disenchantment didn't even reach Netflix top 10 in the first week that it was released. So, like, it's not working. Do better.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I really haven't looked up or seen fan theory type videos or this or that, like on YouTube, or, hasn't cropped up through the algorithm. Like, and that's why I enjoy talking about the show and watching it, but it's also kind of like, it doesn't seem like it's, like you said, in the zeitgeist, as it were.
Yeah, Johnny Two Cellos is a YouTuber that does a lot of BoJack content. Like he does timelines for each of the characters, and he'll do like deep dives into episodes, which sometimes is just I'm like, this is too much, man. He did one on Disenchantment that I couldn't finish watching because I'm like, my dude, you've put more thought into this show than the fucking creators. His theory is that Mop Girl is actually supposed to be the actual ruler of Dreamland.
Right.
But Mop Girl, the
it makes just as much
character,
sense.
is actually so Zog's brother Yog's illegitimate daughter with an elf, and that's why she's so short, and that she's supposed to rule Dreamland.
Yeah, that's out there.
And it is out there. He makes some good points, but it's out there, but it's also like it's out there because there's so many fucking gaps in this show that are unexplained that you gotta fill them with something.
Sure.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm trying not to be rage-filled because I do enjoy the show, even though it sounds like I don't.
Well, and I think the main crux of it, cliffhanger thing aside, because that's just, because of binge TV that they're just like, well, people will just watch the next one right away anyway, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But stuff like that, I think it just gets kind of down to the crux of what we were saying. It's just like, what's the plan? And if there is a plan, it just doesn't seem to be like being developed at a good pace or at a pace of some sort. Like, or it's some things are super slow and sluggish and other things seem to be advancing, or like they're so pointless. Like, I don't know if you were going to get to it, like the elf Trog subplot that's been 3 seasons long.
I fucking hate it.
Well, exactly. And then at the end, it's like, so it's really nothing? Okay.
Yeah, like, it's so dumb.
Like, I did like Levo's joke where he's like, oh, I wasted my life. Because I was like, well, yeah, I feel like I've wasted my time. I feel like this
agree.
This has been a waste of time.
I'm going to get to my number one thought about the show.
Okay.
Which is also negative. But I do have some good stuff we can talk about afterwards.
Sure.
I hate Freckles so much. I don't know why he's in the show. I don't know what his fucking purpose is. I hate every scene he's in. I just, like, why? What is he? What the fuck?
I agree.
Cool.
I may not have the same hatred level, but I am also kind of like, I was surprised he was brought back in this season because I thought it was agreed that he was annoying and Zog went crazy with Freckles and then we're done with that character.
Yeah, but they bring him back, fan favorite or some shit. I don't know. And he's just so stupid. Like, nothing he says is funny or interesting. I don't understand how he's related to the plot because they haven't really like explained what he's doing in this season or why he exists. When Cloyd, what's his name? Becky and Cloyd? Is that it?
I think so, yes.
So in one episode, they become puppets too. Like their soul or whatever goes into these little puppet bodies.
Yeah, that's episode 5.
And I was like, oh yeah. And then I was like, wait, is Dagmar Freckles? Like, that was my... Like, who else is there that's part of this plot? Like, but Dagmar can't be Freckles because Dagmar is Dagmar.
Yeah.
Like, who is this person who is so fucking annoying and seems to serve no purpose because, like, everything that any, like, advancement that he made in season 3 was immediately really erased in season 4. Like, what? Why is he here?
Even in, I think, it's in that same episode that he said where they become all puppets, and then he's like, yeah, we're gonna tear Dagmar and Zog apart, and I was just like, I don't know, I'm not really into this plot line. The only thing I did like was him kind of driving Zog a little crazy with the bridge and the water and then pushing him in at the end. I was like, okay, that was cool. But then how he comes back later as well to then kidnap, who is it? Derek and what's his name?
I just kept saying Bear Boy.
Yeah, no, he's got a name. It's Jasper. That's it. I think it is.
Oh,
yeah, it's Jasper. So, yeah, to kidnap them. And I thought that was kind of fun. where he's like he paid some kids off to pretend that they're dead so he can get him out of town to then sell them to the carnival guy. But I was really shocked to see so much Freckles in the show.
Yeah, I don't like Freckles. Listen, if anybody who works on Disenchantment is listening to us, which I highly doubt, please make Freckles into kindling.
The only thing I like about Freckles is that he's in season 1, like in a display case.
That's kind of fun.
In a store, yeah, like they run by a store and it's like, creepy doll store, and like he's in the window, and it's like, yeah, that's the kind of level of detail that I expect from the people who made Futurama. But yeah, like I said, I was surprised that they continued with this character where I was like, this isn't really annoying.
Yeah, he's so annoying and he's so stupid and he serves no purpose.
Well, he serves a purpose.
Specifically annoy me.
Sure. I mean, but there's a purpose there, but it could be fulfilled by like another better character.
Yeah, you know who could have done that? Fucking three-eyed dude that's barely in this season that was really important in season 1, 2, and partially 3, but for now he's like a background character.
Yeah, I was surprised. Cesario, I think it is. No.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, it is Cesario. Cesario was driven to the background like that.
Yeah, he could have done that. He could have paid kids.
Yeah,
he's got some sort of reason to do it, I guess. He's
because it goes back to like in season 1 and 2, how he's like, yeah, we got the plan to take over the kingdom, but then now that's not a plan anymore. It seems.
Yeah, now he's almost like a bumbling idiot in the background.
Yeah.
Should we talk about some good stuff?
Sure.
Okay. I really liked the shape that Bean and Zog's relationship took in this one. Like a father-daughter relationship, obviously. I felt like they have better communication than season 1. They have more respect for each other. I enjoyed the dynamic of them both being rulers and having a little bit of like hiccups with that, but also working together. I enjoyed like when they were consoling each other about lost loves and how that kind of spurred Zog to go see if he could find Ursula again. That was good to me.
I also agree. I really liked it as well. And it was just interesting that there was so much more of, because that's John DiMaggio does his voice. It seemed like he got a lot more going on with Zog this time, because especially last season, he's just mostly insane. But in the first 2, he's there, but he's usually always like 1 or 2 lines. But this one, yeah, he was like I was saying, he had the full episode about him practically in the insane asylum and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought there was some good stuff there, and I also really liked them working together, and specifically like you were saying when they were talking about relationships and stuff like that, and how they're both like, yeah, we're both messing it up here.
It added some heart to the season, and the season sorely needed heart, so yeah, that was good. I also really enjoyed Luci and Mop Girl's friendship that they started to develop.
Yeah.
It's minor, but it's nice to see Luci making other connections. I don't know. I just kind of enjoyed it. It was kind of sweet and funny.
Mm-hmm. That's actually, I totally forgot about that you just mentioned it. But yeah, they definitely had a couple good episodes together.
Yeah, they weren't like going on adventures or anything. They were just kind of hanging out, and it was like a side thing, but I liked it. It was good.
Yeah.
And then I also enjoyed Zog's kind of learning to be a father to Jasper.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that I enjoyed his relationship with Bean, and I enjoyed his like relationship with Jasper, because it was just like, I mean, there's like funny moments like when they're fishing and stuff, but it was also just kind of sweet, and it made Zog a more likable character, kind of gave him some redemption because of Derek. And I also just enjoy anytime Zog and Ursula are together too. Like, I really like Ursula as a character.
Yeah.
That's her name, right? The bear?
Yes. And yeah. I was gonna say, and yeah, like you're saying, he when he first meets Jasper, and he's just like, oh my gosh, he's like, okay, third one, I don't want to screw this one up. I've already screwed it up the other 2.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a nice little bit of redemption for him.
Absolutely. And well, and in that episode, it kind of gets cheapened by the end, but I was like, I thought it was shocking that they killed Ursula. I was like, whoa, that's major. Now Zog, he lost his love, but he's got the child, that he wants to help and raise. And I was like, wow, that was pretty big. But then she's in episode 10 in the cage.
Yeah, because nobody actually dies in this show.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that, but Bean died this season. She came back. Luci died. He came back. Zog died. Or not Zog. Ursula died. He came back. Or she came back. Nobody actually dies in this show.
Oh, Elfo died as well, and then they went to heaven and got him back.
That's right. Elfo died. He came back. Dagmar died. She came back.
Well, and I just thought because Ursula was a minor character, that maybe, and that death had more punch because of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, continue on with your list of good stuff.
I enjoyed that Una was in it for 5 minutes and that she saved the day.
Yeah.
Because I like Una. She's a good character. And then in much the same way, I'm glad that Bean is still bisexual. Like, okay. I'm going to go off on a small tangent.
Okay.
It probably doesn't have the same impact on you as a straight guy, but as like a pansexual person who is 37, when I was a kid and I was like, or teenager, young adult, and I was like struggling with, not struggling, I never struggled. I don't struggle with that. But when I was trying to like figure out my sexuality, the only representation of like bisexual people in the media was basically like a guy having a threesome with 2 women.
Right.
Eventually, like, the L word came out, but even that was like, bisexuals aren't real. Like, you're either gay or you're straight. Surprise. So I get very excited as an adult when I see media that has like bi or pan or queer representation that is presented in a non-novelty sort of way. And I'm happy that they didn't just write off the mermaid. What's the mermaid's name again? Mira or something?
I think it's Mura. I think it's Mura or Mora with an O. Sorry.
Mora. Oh yeah. I'm glad that they just didn't write that off as like a one-time thing or like Bean had imagined it or something like that. Like, I'm glad that they brought her back, even if it was very minor, because like, I don't know, it's nice to see when you identify like as a non-hegemonic way, it's nice to see good representation that isn't like over-sexualized or results in somebody dying because they came out. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But yeah, it's nice. It's good to see, and I'm happy. It makes me happy that like children today and teens today can like look at something, even if it's animated, and be like, oh, hey, I'm like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that made me happy. That's
No, it was good, and like you said, in the heart to heart with Zog, I really didn't like that. Yeah, she was like, I think I'm in love still with this mermaid, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. That's it. That's all I had for my list of things that I liked about it. Fair enough. There's good father-daughter and father-son relationships and gay. Yeah. I mean, that is like probably one of the, like, aside from Shira just being a good show, that's probably one of the things I like about it, is that there's queer characters who are just exist as people. Right. Yeah. And I think like we kind of talked a bit in the beginning. For me, one of the things I did like is that the animation is still really good, and some of the colorization use, like in that episode where Una rescues them in the undersea castle, like when she finds the spawning worm like hive den or whatever, and it's just like all the worms are coming out of those guys.
Oh, that was so gross.
Yeah, it was very gross. Some good blues. I really liked that. I like that kind of stuff. And yeah,
Also,
and
just being dead, like floating in that room.
yeah,
The fuck? I
Yeah.
was like, oh, is this the last episode?
yeah. Did I miscount? And it's already the end.
Yeah, did you have anything in particular you wanted to highlight from the show, Mr. Dan?
No, I think I've kind of mentioned it as we've gone here and there. Like I said, I think for me, the spy versus spy versus spy was just a lot of fun because it was just every faction basically being like, Elfo, you go spy for us. And then, you had a good running joke of like, well, what's my costume budget? And like, Bean gave him something and then he's okay. And then he's got the mustache and he's like, my mustachio. and then when the elves catch him, they're like, well, he's like, well, what's my costume budget? And they're like, 0. He's like, can't even get a good wig for that. So I really liked that idea. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the voice work was really good.
I find Elfo's dad really fucking annoying.
Yes. I was glad he was only in like the 1 or 2 episodes.
He was still in it too much, though.
I mean, but it's the first time we finally got like the definitive, here's his story. Because it's always been essentially hinted and easily figured out that it's like, yeah, he fell in love with an ogre, right? Like,
yeah.
We finally got that wrapped up and we got that out of the way.
Hopefully we never have to see him again.
Yeah. But I like that because I think I've only seen him once or twice and how like there was the stuff with the gnomes and how they're just like crazy war happy.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And then, like I said, I did like the part where Derek's like pixie girlfriend, she's a stereotype Cockney or whatever, but she's willing to like double cross him for a cut of the loot or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Because like all the pixies in this are always like depicted as like not fairies in like other fantasy media where they're all friendly and everything. But yeah, what else? You said you got some other stuff, right? Wasn't just, or was that was the end of your list, right?
That's it. That's all my notes. I wrote notes.
That was all.
I read them. The end.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, this kind of puts some things into perspective, like you're saying, that I was unaware of, like how much longer the show is good. I always figured, like season to season, that the show just might end and never continue. But if, like you said, that they've actually said like there's going to be 6 now.
Oh no, no one's confirmed that there's 6. I felt like if they were trying to tell a cohesive story, there's probably 2 more seasons left.
Right. Okay. Sorry. I thought you had.
No. I'm pretty sure that when it came out, they announced that it was only going to be 3 or 4 seasons long. And then I guess maybe seasons 1 through 3 did well.
Yeah.
Or 1 and 2 did well, so they did a 4th, and I don't know what's going on. They need to wrap it up, is what I'm saying.
Apparently, it hasn't been renewed yet for a 5th season. Yeah, this was in February.
There were rumors that there was animators working on it in January. I heard that in one of my videos, but I don't know if that was just them cleaning it up to get ready for the February release.
Yeah, apparently there's a quote here at the end that says Matt Groening has recently stated he wishes to make a few more seasons of the animated series, but I guess there's nothing definitive.
That's fair. They're probably going to see how season 4 did, which I don't think is as good as the first 3.
Yeah.
And then they'll cancel it, and we'll never know.
Well, the first few are quite enjoyable.
Yeah, I totally recommend watching seasons 1 through 3.
Fair enough.
Should we wrap it up?
I feel like there's more to say, but I think we've said a lot as well. That I think for me, I did enjoy it. I mean, I watched all of it in like 2 days, and mainly because it's this kind of format, like the 24 to 25 minute thing is so bingeable, and and it's just some fun here and there. I feel like comparatively to other shows, like even other animated shows, I'm not laughing as much at the jokes, but I am enjoying the lightheartedness and the fun of the world. But yeah, I think some of the story stuff we've highlighted and some of the differences, like is even in the introduction in Steenland, and then they've only gone back there a couple times, and then there's always the hint that it's like, is there a bigger story involved with them? We don't know, right? So.
Yeah, we don't know because they just keep. It feels like a kid telling a story where they just keep adding stuff. And you're like, yeah, but what's the point? And then they're like, yeah, but the dinosaurs had lasers on their heads and they're going to Mars. And you're like, great. Can you finish the story about how you went to the grocery store and came home with chocolate milk instead of regular milk? That's what Disenchantment feels like.
Fun stuff. So anyway, yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I think, yeah, it's worth the watch, but I'm curious to see if there would be more. I don't know, like, because I've been enjoying Bean and her adventures, but I just wish there was more Bean and adventures in the season.
Yeah, me too. I like Bean. Bean is a great character. And so is Luci. And both of them were lacking. I don't really like Elfo. He can suck my dick.
Yeah, their dynamic has kind of gotten weird because in the beginning, of course, it was like he was in love with her, and then she was like, no, and then now it's just kind of like he's just hanging her on.
Yeah, well, it's weird because they're like, oh, let's introduce that he's into like weird stuff sexually. I felt like they tried to shoehorn that joke in a lot, and it's like, dude, it's like 2022. We don't kink shame people anymore.
Yeah. And it's your elf character.
Yeah, fuck. Like, I feel like they just keep trying to imply that he's sort of some sort of sexual deviant. And I'm like, I don't buy it.
Yeah. Well, exactly, because especially in the beginning, it's like that doesn't track. Yeah.
It's stupid.
But okay.
We'll call this episode Devin Hates Everything.
We'll call it Disenchantment Disappointment.
Yeah.
Get some alliteration in there.
Very good. But overall, do you recommend the show to people?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Cool. Me too. But like less and less enthusiastically every season.
Sure, exactly. Yeah, like the first 2 seasons were much more fun than this season especially.
See, pardon me, I thought season 3 was really good.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I was like, I should have rewatched season 3 because I don't know that there was some good stuff in there. Like that in the start of that season, does she go to hell or no? That's season 2, I think, right?
No, season 3. Oh wait, is that season 2?
Yeah, I was trying to remember. It's like where she has to walk down the big giant spiral to hell, like, and then she puts on the demon disguise, and like that was pretty fun.
That was a great episode. Anything
I think that was
fun.
Yeah. Anyway, let's wrap it up, like you said.
I think that was season 3. I think season 2. Nope. Yeah. Okay, we'll wrap it up. I don't remember.
I was saying, or I thought you were looking it up.
No.
Yeah, it's not, you can listen to our past episodes to find those breakdowns.
I was looking it up in my mind palace, but my mind palace is like a fucking hoarder's house.
Mine's full
find anything. There's just old newspapers everywhere.
Mine's full of rule books.
Oh, that makes sense. That's why as a DM, that's why it's fun to have you as a player, because they can be like, hey, Dan, how do I do this?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we're wrapping up. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with every single person you've ever met in your whole life so that we can get sponsored by Casper Mattress and Squarespace, and we can sell out and make lots of money and then like buy a big house.
Wow, that's some lofty money we're getting.
And we're going to spit on the peasants. It's the only reason I do anything is to get money.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, it's used to trade for goods and services.
Fucking goods and services. So yeah, share it with everybody. Follow us on Instagram, where I almost never post. Go to the website, tomeofuselessness.com, and look at stuff. Email us if you have a suggestion, or if you're Matt Groening and you would like to spitball some ideas for season 5 with me, tomeofuselessness@gmail.com. And is there anything else we can do? I don't remember.
I always like to say stay safe and thanks for listening.
Bye!